Hello, hello, Dina Wakley here to show off my new texture combs. These are new with the August release with Ranger ink, and I'm so excited about these. I had the concept for these, and then Debbie at Ranger helped me put the concept into action, and I think we did a good job. I think they turned out fun. And they're kind of a multi-purpose, multifunctional tool, mark making tool, because you've got the edges which all have a different pattern. There are two combs available, so there are different patterns available on every edge. And then there's also a straight edge, which is great for gessoing. You can gesso a whole page in just a matter of a couple seconds with that straight edge. And then we added some design in the center of the tool so that it's also a stencil. They're a little thicker than a regular stencil, so if you use paste through them, you'll get a higher relief because the tool itself is thicker than a stencil. And we need it to be this thick so that it has some rigidity when you comb with it and when you're doing large areas. They're really versatile and useful, and I've been using them on lots of things. I thought I'd show you some of my favorite ways to use them. First, just gessoing. So here's the journal, and I'm just gonna gesso here in a flash. So a little gesso across the top of the page, and then take your comb and just scrape it down flat with the straight side. Look how quick you can get a whole page gessoed. And I just cover it up, set that aside to dry. With the comb, you can get it nice and thin, and then that way it'll dry quick. The number one mistake that people make when they're in class with me is they put their gesso on way too thick. You just don't need it that thick. Thin is good. So easy peasy gessoing. How fun is that? Another fun use for the new texture combs is the jelly plate. So I have the plate here. My plate's a little dirty. I don't really clean it very carefully. I bet that doesn't come as a shock to most of you. I like when the residue from a previous print comes off on the next print, so that's why I'm not too precious about it. But I'm coating the plate with magenta Dina Wakley acrylic paint. My paint, by the way, works awesome on the jelly plate. And then because there are many different patterns here on the three sides of each comb, you have an infinite, well, not infinite, because my math husband would tell me it's not truly infinite, but you have many possibilities for creating plaids and marks. So you can grab the comb and just comb down the whole plate. What's cool about it is it gives you a paste paper look. If you remember paste paper from the 80s and people were creating amazing combed pieces, you can combine those different comb styles, comb widths and of the teeth on the combs, and you can create all kinds of different marks. So go ahead and comb to your heart's desire. Grab a piece of paper and go ahead and print. You can print on blank sheet, which is what I'm doing here. You can print on another piece. Ooh, that one looks like the ocean. Should have done that one in blue. You can print on another piece that you've already printed on and layer the printing over and over. I find that I usually can get two prints. So a ghost print, the primary print, and then a ghost print, especially when I put the medium directly on the plate, which isn't usually the best process, but it's what we all do when we're lazy, right? So cool, fun texture, and that could be the foundation for a print. You could draw on that, cut that up into pieces. Let me show you some of the other prints that I was making today with my plate. I've got a whole stack right here. So on this one, I combed different directions with different sizes, and you can see a lot of the residue from old prints coming through on that one. Just basic combing. I love a big circular comb pattern. That looks fun. Kind of like what I just demoed, different plaids, different marks. Like I said, there are so many possibilities with the different comb sizes, tooth sizes of the comb, that you can get lots of interesting looks and patterns happening. So can you see the possibilities there with your printing process? Lots of possibilities. So here's another fun way to use those combs. So I just have a journal page here. Looks like I was wiping extra paint from a previous day onto that page. I'm going to go ahead and put another color on there. And then I'm going to use the comb to make marks just right straight in the color. So because my paint has that great heavy body formula, what will happen is I can get a texture through that acrylic right onto my page. And I can comb it and almost get that jelly printed look just by combing through the heavy body paint directly on the page, because that paint will hold its shape and form because of its heavy body formulation. And then what's cool about doing that over something else is that it acts like sgraffito, which is an artist term meaning scratching through one layer to reveal the layer that's underneath. And I'm always left with these great little paint bits on the teeth, and I love to just use this comb as a mark making tool, so I can add bits and bobs as I go along to any piece, to pieces that are finished, or even the gesso. So here's some white gesso. I'm putting that directly on the page. I'm going to go ahead and comb that gesso so that it's flat. I'm going to keep it quite thick though, because if I keep it thick, I can make marks in it with the comb. And then when this gesso's dry, I can glaze over this gesso, paint over the gesso, and the comb will give lots of bumps and ridges for interesting texture techniques and interesting texture looks when that gesso's dry. So combed right into the gesso. Okay, my gesso texture is dry, so I'm going to go ahead and paint over it. I'm going to have a little dot of pink, and then I'm going to add about a quarter size, if I can get it out here, a dot of glazing medium, because I want the medium to just be very lightly tinted. A little bit dot of lapis as well. I'm going to go ahead and mix that. Mix some with the lapis, and I'm going to rub it on. So on this half, this side I'm going to glaze. You get that great transparent look with those glazes. Glazes will mix with each other and will stay wet quite a long time because of that glazing medium. But look how good the combed texture looks in there. Looks fantastic, doesn't it? On this half, I'm just going to wet it and put a little bit of paint on it. And it will be watery, so while this has a transparent glazed look, this side's going to look watery. And the water's going to roll off the top of the gesso texture, and it will soak down into the valleys. So two different looks that you can get. One that is glazed and one that's kind of, I guess we can call it watercolor, even though it's just watery acrylic on this side. But both methods will show you that great texture from the gesso and the texture comb coming through. So here's a closer look of the glazed side and then the watery side. Two different looks, and fun, fun, fun. I hope this gives you some ideas for how to use the new texture combs. I can't wait to see what you'll create.